Let's walk into the old HAC area. Prior to us departing, all of the battalion staff and all the companies shared this area. This office right here was the Readiness NCO office / First Sergeant Commander office. And the reason we didn't like this for Company Matters is that the First Sergeant and Commander had this office, which was pretty small, and then the Training NCO, Readiness NCO had this office, but there was no orderly room for the soldiers to sit down and conduct platoon sergeant business, squad leader business, stuff of that nature. So the troops would just build up here where they would hide out in other offices. And that's one of the reasons HSC was requesting more space. But Charlie 449th, they said that this would not be a problem at all for them, and we would just share the orderly room over in the old MP area. But if you look down the hall, there's not much change. Is that they added 2 restrooms. There used to just be a female latrine here. Now it's 2 restrooms. It's just a smaller version of what I showed you in the big showers. Same tile, same everything. And the females looks the same. You have 2 janitorial closets down here. You have one on that side by the main entrance, and of course you have one down here by the bathrooms. This office, no change, just a hub room. This used to be the SPO shop. Once again, this is a pretty small office. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 ports right here. But the SPO never really runs as a section MDay wise. They're mainly used when you deploy, so it was never the big of that issue for us giving them a lot of space. This is the area that I think on Major Reyes' plan was recommended as the Sergeant Major of the SPO's office. 1, 2, 3, 4. Internet ports in there. Same thing in here, 4 internet ports. This whole wing, I think, was dedicated to the S3 shop, except for the last office, which would be the S4 shop on Major Reyes' plan. So, just kind of showing these. This was the old S4 office. This is part of the S3 shop. And honestly, based on the space, I think this is pretty much what the S3 had before. I think the plan shows for 8 workstations in here, and it doesn't support 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 work. It has the internet for it, but it just doesn't look like you have the desk space for 4 desks if you were going to run 8 workstations in here, 2 desks on a computer, or however you were going to run it. It just doesn't look like it really has the space for 8 workstations. And some of the workstations, like we sent up the chart showing that we had the 40 computers, some of those workstations are actually going to have to go to the computer lab, so that cuts down on the amount of workstations that we have as well. This was the old S1 office. This is, I think, part of the SPO plan as well, under Major Reyes' plan. This whole area we were going to give to the Gsab. So outside of which office was going to be their TAC Ops office, we really don't know where they were going to be putting people, so I can't speak on what offices this was going to be for this plan. This was the old S3 orderly room. This is the room right next to the XO office. Pretty spacious. I think Major Reyes had 4 workstations in here. This could accommodate more than that. At one point, they actually had all the AGR staff working in here. So full-time wise, this is where the S1, the S3, S4, everybody worked in this one office. That way it was just one plan going all the time. Everybody was in their office kind of doing their own thing. This is the old XO office that Major Roberson had. Not much change here except that they added a door to the outside. That way you didn't have to walk through one of the offices to go out. Now this is the old conference room that 449th used to have. And although it looks pretty good size, it really was not. Once you sat the conference table down here, the conference table pretty much ran door to door and then you had the TV screen with the projector right there. And once you got the conference table in here, that conference table is pretty wide. It pretty much ate up this space, and that was one of the reasons that we were trying to move on starting Purdue and my plan to the ATS room, because you had just buku amount of space. I think in the Gsab plan, this is the ATS room. This is where they're going to put their simulators, and they're going to take these offices. Not much change here. I think we had the 2IC office and the sergeant major and the battalion commander in these offices. And of course, across the hall, Major Reyes' plan is the medical storage area, or yeah, it was the medical area, which honestly, if we have the shared TMC, we really do not need the medical area. And that was one of the things that we were trying to alleviate between the two battalions, was 3 or 4 medical areas when we could just do one combined effort for a medical area. And that's this whole wing.